This is Our Planet, the one place we all call home. Foreword by David Attenborough. Written by Matt Whyman, illustrations by Richard Jones. This is the second part, and it's called Our Frozen Worlds. Located at the top and bottom of the globe, the poles represent some of the Earth's last remaining wildernesses. We are only just beginning to fully understand these extraordinary places, and yet they are undergoing changes that affect us all. In this picture we see a polar bear as it stalks the ice in the Arctic. The ice world of Antarctica that surrounds the South Pole has been frozen for 30 million years. It is bigger than Europe, and it's the coldest and windiest place on Earth. Here, entire mountain ranges are buried under ice up to 4 kilometers thick. Each winter, even large areas of the vast southern ocean that surround it freeze. It may look as if no life can exist here, but under the sea, ice is a world teeming with activity. The Antarctic waters are full of nutrients that feed plankton, which makes up the bottom of the food chain. Plankton is eaten by tiny shrimp-like creatures called krill, which in turn are eaten by seals, penguins, seabirds, and whales. The northern ice cap of our planet is called the Arctic. This is a frozen ocean ringed by land. Sea ice supports a wide range of species, from microscopic algae to walruses, as well as huge flocks of migrating seabirds. Then there are the narwhals, sporting tusks like unicorns of the icy seas. And, of course, there's the world's largest land carnivore, the polar bear. At both poles, ice has been a feature of millions of years. Now things are changing. This is because of human activity and, in particular, our use of fossil fuels, such as oil, natural gas, and coal. Burning fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide into the Earth's atmosphere. This is causing the planet to warm up, and it is melting the polar ice. As a result of rising temperatures, we are losing ice at a rate that's having a big impact on wildlife in the Arctic and the Antarctic. Special quality. Ice is a special feature of the poles. Animals from penguins to seals to polar bears need ice platforms to help them hunt, rest, and breed. The poles might seem like a world away, but they affect all our lives, and it's essential they stay frozen to lock in water that would otherwise cause sea levels to rise, as well as to reflect the sun's rays back into space to keep our planet from overheating. Stories from Our Frozen Worlds. Pop-up penguin. In South Georgia, a king penguin pops up on the shore, having surfaced from the water at speed. It's a smart move, as a leopard seal has been lurking, ready to strike. The penguin has been diving for fish to feed his chick. Now he needs to find the youngster amid a penguin colony that stretches around the bay. While the leopard seal watches hungrily from the water, the penguin faces another challenge in getting back to his chick. He has to dodge 2 male elephant seals that are scrapping over a female on the shore. This means moving quickly to avoid being bulldozed by 4 tons of angry blubber. Once he's reached the colony, which contains 500,000 chicks, the penguin calls and listens for a recognizable cry. Astonishingly, despite the racket, he can recognize his little one's response. The things parents go through to feed the family. And this is the king penguin colony. Arctic chase. A polar bear and her cub stalk the Arctic sea ice in search of a seal. Recently, the sea has been freezing later than usual. As a result, the winter storms that would usually bash up the surface and create ridges in the ice have passed. It means the surface of this stretch of frozen Arctic water is almost completely flat. There are no places to hide, and this makes it challenging for the bears to creep up on their supper. For the seal, these new conditions also make life difficult. A mother seal would normally use the frozen ridges to create a den for her pup. With nowhere to hide now, all she can do is hope her young one quickly learns to keep an eye out. This time, the bear cub has yet to learn to tread as softly as her mother. Picking up on the bear's approach, the seal pup slips through a hole in the ice and into the safety of the sea. Without doubt, life is changing for the likes of the polar bear and the seal. Fewer hiding places in the ice mean both predator and prey must adapt to survive. But a warming climate means things can only become tougher. A new threat to Antarctic whales. Humpback whale numbers have recovered dramatically since ban on commercial whaling, but now their food supply is under threat due to climate change. The amount of Antarctic krill on which they rely has halved in the last 50 years, partly due to warming temperatures and melting sea ice. Planet Krill. In the cold southern ocean around Antarctica, most marine life, from penguins to seals to humpback whales, depends on krill. These tiny crustaceans, like miniature shrimp, feed on phytoplankton, and so they form an essential link in the food chain. There are estimated to be 780 trillion krill in the world's oceans, and altogether they weigh more than the total human population. But due to climate change, their numbers are shrinking. Big bird. The wandering albatross chick can spend up to a year in the nest. While its parents take off far across the water, wandering the Southern Ocean in search of food, this rather large little one often waits for up to a week between meals. Ice giants. The walrus is about the same size and weight as a family car, insulated by thick layers of blubber that can withstand temperatures of minus 35 degrees Celsius. This hefty Arctic beast feasts mainly on mollusks such as clams, as well as on other marine animals including shrimp, crabs, and occasionally seals. The ice provides the walrus with both a platform from which to dive for food and a place to sleep and mate. But as climate change causes the ice to shrink, huge numbers of them are forced to gather on coastlines. With limited space, often far from their feeding grounds, many do not survive. Orca vs. penguin. The orca, also known as the killer whale, is a fearsome hunter. It's classed as an apex predator, which means it is at the top of the food chain and isn't preyed upon by any other creature in nature. Over half the world's orca population can be found in the Antarctic waters. Orcas often hunt in packs or pods and shift into a stealth mode, so they move quickly and quietly through the water to target their prey. Penguins are quick enough to outmaneuver a single orca, but they are no match for a pod. Protecting our frozen worlds. The North and South Poles contain masses of water locked up as ice. This helps keep sea levels from rising and flooding coastal regions. Polar ice protects the planet. It locks up carbon, which is linked to climate change, and reflects the sun's rays back into space. The heat is on. Burning fossil fuels is causing global temperatures to rise. As the polar ice shrinks, it doesn't just affect the wildlife that depends on it, but the world as a whole. Go clean, stay cool. We have the technology to slow rising temperatures by switching to clean and renewable energy sources, such as wind and solar power. That's good for our ice worlds and the future of the Earth. And that is the end of part 1, Our Frozen Worlds.